Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be a little bit of a different video. I had this Model S P93 for the last 24 hours. So what I want to do is I want to compare it to my Model 3. My Model 3 obviously is a long range rear-wheel drive. This one is a dual motor and stuff like that. So what I want to do, I had this for a loaner for 24 hours. I just want to do a quick 24-hour comparison. Yes, I know 24 hours isn't enough time to do a proper 100% comparison, but you know what? I've driven the Model 3 long enough, for almost 2 years now, and I've driven this one for the last 24 hours, but I've put it through its paces, respectfully, and I haven't abused the car or anything like that, so don't comment below and say anything like that. I don't want any of the haters. But what I want to do is just like a quick initial impressions between this car that I've had for the last 24 hours and the Model 3. Right away, the first and most notable difference is obviously this car is faster. This car is considerably faster. I looked online and the specs say something between 2.8 and 3.2 or 2.6. 0 to 60, it's fast. It's definitely got a lot more power. It's noticeable, but I mean, is it noticeable? Like, it's noticeable, and yeah, it knocks you back in your seat, but so does my Model 3 when I really give it. Yeah, and my Model 3 does the same thing, but just on a different level. Now, the outside of the car, obviously, we all know the Model S is a bigger car than the Model 3, and it's only by a little bit, but sitting in the car, it makes it look a lot bigger. Like, just maneuvering the car around, feeling it, the stability and stuff like that. Very good handling car, don't get me wrong, but it's just, it feels, you can feel the difference in the weight. You can feel that it's a bigger, heavier car. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, but you can. Even when it comes to parking in a parking spot and stuff like that, and reversing and parallel parking, which I've done all in the last 24 hours, you can definitely tell the difference. And like I said, obviously the outside aesthetics and design, everything, that's obvious. There's no comparing that. It is what it is. I personally, and this is a personal thing, you know, at the end of the day, I think this whole video is a personal take. It's my personal opinion. I mean, you may have a Model S and hate the Model 3 and vice versa. It's a personal opinion, right? So don't flame me on that. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I like the design of my Model 3 better on the outside. Just me, and I like the size. It fits me a lot better in terms of size and maneuverability and stuff like that. I prefer the Model 3. Okay, let's move on to the interior, folks. The interior is absolutely huge in this car. I mean, it's a big car. Like I said, we talked about the outside just now and everything like that, but the inside dimensions. Now this one is missing I think a center console, I think, is supposed to be here, because it's just an empty void here. It's great for putting stuff. You can almost put a full bag here right by your knee, so you can keep an eye on it and stuff. You don't have to put it in the seat if you had a front passenger. It just seems like something empty there. What I find too, because I'm not a big person, I have to put the seat a little closer than maybe most average people, so I find this armrest a little far back there, and even if it was up here, it's still a little high. And I've raised the seat up as much as I can, so unless I'm missing something here and this slides forward, which I've tried, it doesn't seem like it does. And like I said, it's because I've got the seat up forward. I'm not like kissing the steering wheel. I'm not one of these people. But and the cup holders, there's cup holders here, but once again, like I said, you got to reach back here just to get the cup holders, or to get your drinks or anything in the holders. So that ergonomically isn't the greatest in my opinion. It could be a little closer up, and like I said, maybe that's what the center console. I know there is an additional not aftermarket, but additional center console thing that they sell, that Tesla sells, that you can have installed in here, and I'm assuming that's what goes in this big void empty spot here. Lots of room in the back. I mean, it looks similar to the Model 3 in terms of back seat space. It may be a little bit more front seat space for sure. Like, I mean, this seat's all the way back, I think. But so, yeah, maybe there's more in the back. Obviously, the trunk, with it being a hatchback, tons more room. Mind you, the Model 3 has plenty of room itself. I mean, we've been on many road trips as a family, and I can tell you that we've never had any shortage of space or anything like that. We're going, in February, we're going to 2 different locations, 2 different family trips, one semi-long and one very long trip. And you'll see that in a little bit. And I find that the space is very very good in a Model 3, more so in a Model S. The frunk, okay, the frunk is hands down a lot bigger in the Model S than the Model 3, because like I said, it's a bigger car. The Model 3 is sufficient for my family's needs, but for a bigger, larger family, I could see the Model S coming in handy and being useful and giving you more space. Now, getting back in the inside here of this Model S, speaking of ergonomics, just little things that I've noticed. Okay, you can put your arm here. It's like an armrest on the, I guess, the mid part or the high part of this door for an armrest, which is good. But then all the controls for the automatic windows and the mirrors are down lower. So, I mean, yeah, I guess some people could say you put your arm here and your elbow here and then your hand just naturally rests there. I think it's a little low. Once again, maybe I'm just accustomed to the Model 3 where the instruments and the controls are right parallel with your hand, where your hand rests. This one seems to be down on the next level. So it could just be me. Visibility and window space and everything like that, tons of room. This is a AP1 car, so it doesn't have the side markers and doesn't have, it has autopilot, but it doesn't have nav on autopilot. It was interesting driving just on regular autopilot on the highway yesterday. That was interesting. Also, it doesn't have a Sentry mode. Which is fine. It's a loaner. I don't need Sentry mode. I parked it and treated it just as if it was my own, but with the exception of Sentry mode. I get it. It's a loaner. I guess they don't have Sentry mode in it for privacy reasons and having to worry about a little memory card and stuff like that. So I get it. It's a Tesla loaner car, so it doesn't require Sentry mode. Moving on to the interior dash. Yes, that center screen, the binnacle, does come in handy. I'm totally not used to it because in the Model 3 you don't need it. Everything's over here. The first thing you notice when you get in this car, other than the space, the extra room, is obviously the horizontal portrait layout of the center screen. Even though it's only 2 inches bigger, it does look a lot bigger in this car than it does in the Model 3. Now this one, I don't know if it's just older technology or the car itself is old. This car has 114,000 kilometers on it. But it looks, the screen doesn't look as sharp and as vivid as the Model 3. Once again, like I said, this could just be because of the age, or it could be the technology, but it just doesn't look as crisp and as sharp. Don't get me wrong, it looks nice, but it's just not up to snuff of what the Model 3 is, or what I'm accustomed to the Model 3 having. And then, of course, I've noticed this must have old hardware too for rendering things, and I've heard that on the Model S and X, where it's just for navigation, for example, for navigation, when the map's drawing itself and coming into view, it just takes a lot longer. It's not as snappy. You press a button, there's a little bit of a lag or latency between when it actually gives you what you're looking for compared to when you press the button. So these are all little differences, you notice between this and the Model 3. The vents for the heater when I was using the car at night, it's there. I didn't notice. I didn't have to adjust anything. It was there. I'm not accustomed to adjusting anything, so maybe that's what it is. So the Alcantara is a nice touch, but really, do I miss it in my Model 3? No. Like I said, it's a nice dark headliner. That's something, and once again, this is just a personal thing I wish the Model 3 had. But other than that, that's just a color aesthetic. The Alcantara itself, it's a nice to have thing, but you don't have to have it. And I don't miss it personally. Like I said, it's a nice to the touch on the dash and everything, but you don't need to have it. So getting back to the center binnacle, it's great, all the layouts there and everything. And I know why they have to have it there, because the way this horizontal layout is here in the Model S and the X doesn't afford for many things in the model like it does in the Model 3. I think it's a better layout when it's horizontal than it is here. So, with the refresh coming, as we all know it is, and even though Tesla's saying it isn't, we know that they'll probably go to a landscape layout for the S's and the X's. What they'll do with this horizontal one, we'll have to wait and see what happens. So overall, a very nice car. Is it worth it for the price? My personal opinion, I don't think so. I think you get everything plus a little bit more, other than space. You can't make up space. Space is space. If you need a bigger car and you need more space, then you'll have to get this car. But if you can do with Model 3, which most people can, all the bells and whistles and things that you get with this car, you'll get in the Model 3 too. So maybe that's why the Model 3, other than price and affordability, is selling so much better than the Model S and X. I mean, like Elon said, it's one of those, I think he said legacy cars, or one of those cars that he doesn't have to build, they're just building it anyways. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, the only time will tell. The Model 3 is definitely the way to go, and when the Model Y sales come on board soon, probably, actually as of filming today, they just registered some VINs down in the States, so I think the Model Y release is imminent. I think at least in this first quarter, they're going to start doing maybe to customers, no, not customers, maybe to employees. So we'll have to wait and see that. But what you can get in a Model S, you can get a Model 3 for a lot less. I think, obviously, like I said, reiterating and repeating myself, that's why the Model 3 is outselling this car by tons. Nice car, don't get me wrong, but maybe for larger people, they would need this, and like I said, larger families. But I'll stick with my Model 3. I'm going to pick it up right now, and I can't wait. Not to say I hated this car. Like I said, the car's great. Technology in it is awesome. I think if I came from an ICE car into this car, I would be blown away, just like I did when I test drove it. This isn't the first time I drove this car. I meant to say at the beginning of the video. I've driven a Model S before. This is the longest period of time, which is only 24 hours. Like I said, I know it's not sometimes a fair assessment or an honest assessment of it, but in my opinion, driving Teslas for a while, I think I can make that assessment pretty accurately. So folks, that's my take on it. If you're in the market for a Tesla and you are on the fence and you can afford the Model S, but you're on the fence between a Model 3, maybe a Performance or something like that, spend your money a little more wisely, I would highly suggest a Model 3. Great car, Model S, but I highly suggest a Model 3. Thanks for watching. That's all I got for you today. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.